Hey, what's up, guys? It's Kess. Sorry, it's been a while since I've made videos, but here we are today. Sort of just giving you my opinions on Evoker on the PTR right now. Sort of what I think about it, where I think it's going to end up in the meta throughout the season, my thoughts on the tier set, stuff like that. And to just jump right into it, we've obviously gone through a couple rounds of buffs. I sort of missed like the entire early stages of the PTR cycle, so I'm just gonna base it off of the most recent stuff. But yeah, I went through some buffs, went through a few changes, and after the last round of tuning, I think it's solid. It, you know, pretty consistent with what Dev has been in previous seasons in terms of it does really good damage. Um, our tier set as Flame Shaper is extremely strong now. I definitely think it's going to be another season of Flame Shaper over Scale Commander. Scale Commander, I think, is a little wonky, little jank. Probably still suffers in polls that exceed, 5, 6, 7 targets compared to Flame Shaper. Flame Shaper's single target also insanely strong, but yeah, the tier set just brings even more insane AoE. The tier set is capped, but Flame Shaper's AoE is pretty uncapped, especially when you're comparing it to Scale Commander. So I think Flame definitely pulls ahead, stays ahead, in fact. And the tier set is just so strong. One rotational difference to get the most out of your burst. Some of you may not like this. I think it's fine. I think it's cool to have something different. But it just feels a little awkward. Might take a little bit of getting used to. Is in AoE, and I'll probably go over this if I do a guide video or something, but in AoE, you want to basically, you would like Living Flame your target as it's being gathered, right? That's same old. And then you would tip the scales, engulf twice, and then I was Shattering Starring after that. I don't think that really matters too much, but it just guarantees me an Essence Burst based off the talents I was playing in this testing today. And then Dragon Rage. So to repeat that, and then I'll put it up on screen as well, is Tip the Scales, Fire Breath, Double Engulf, and then Shattering Star, and then Dragon Rage. That is going to give you max value out of your tier set immediately. So when you engulf, you get the tier set buff. So we're engulfing twice, it stacks twice, right? And then Dragon Rage throws out 3 pyres, and those are going to drop essence bombs as well. And then from there, basically, you just want to generate essence bursts in the inner flame window, spend essence so that you're spending essence bombs. And it does so much damage. Like if you guys saw in that first pull there, I did like 50 something million DPS, and that is in the scintillation build. I wasn't even playing like Feed the Flames, like full AoE pad. So very, very, very strong. Big fan of the tier set, honestly. It's a little bit of a gameplay change, which is nice because Dev's been pretty cookie cutter, excuse me, for quite a while. So I'm happy with it. However, I still think Evoker will have the same issues it always has, is the damage profile. You can do a lot of AoE and you can do a lot of single target, and you can do both of those within the same build. However, you have to pick and choose which one you decide to do in a pull. Obviously, Engulf gives you 2 globals of really good priority damage. Outside of that, I guess we get some Essence Bomb damage on the main target, but that's going to hit other mobs too. Like, it's same old, same old. You're going to do a lot of AoE. You're going to need to build a comp that has someone to do cryo damage for you. Your Arcane Mage or whatever it is, right? Our raid buff still sucks. Our raid buff is completely useless in keys. And yes, that matters a lot in keys when building your comps. Key utility still remains insane, right? We have probably one of the best M+ kits in terms of utility, but damage profile and raid buff are still lacking, still hurt us. If we're doing a lot of damage, and by a lot of damage, I mean like we'd probably have to be one of the top damage specs in the game, like up towards the top to be seen at the highest level in the game. To warrant bringing like a bad raid buff and this sort of damage profile to the keys. So I think it's probably like A tier, maybe high A tier. Probably definitely high A tier. Not sure I would ever put it in S tier just due to the nature of the damage profile and the lack of a good raid buff, stuff like that. But as a dev enjoyer, I'm certainly excited to play it this season. I think it's going to be quite strong. Specifically, Flame Shaper. You guys know how I am. Even if Scale Commander was somehow better, I don't think I'd be too happy to play it. The Scale Commander tier set revolving around Deep Breath and the Squadron guys is just it's so jank, and it just doesn't feel great in keys to be spamming Disintegrate in massive AoE and then pyring once in between and then disintegrating and then pyring. Like, you know what I mean? I kind of get bored of that gameplay loop, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about Flame Shaper. I think it's going to do really big damage. Obviously, you'll be able to do the highest keys as dev. You're just going to have to build a comp around it. Find some friends that'll let you play it over whatever ends up being meta. Because I don't think dev will be meta. Almost certain, but for sure playable if you enjoy it. And yeah, I think it's going to be strong. It is a little bit different, and I hope that doesn't bug those of you who enjoy dev a lot, just because you are like pressing some buttons before Dragon Rage that you would normally press right after your Dragon Rage, and do your burst sequence that way. So hopefully that doesn't bug you too much, but yeah. Another comment I just want to make is, without a doubt, dev is one of the best uncapped AoE specs in the game. That is obviously our strength. Again, like I said earlier, you can still do good single target, especially if you go into the scintillation build. So you can bring a hybrid of really good AoE and really good single target to the key. But one of our weaknesses is that Firestorm, especially, they keep buffing it. It does make up a lot of your damage. It makes up a good chunk of your overall damage. It helps you get through the pulls, right? Obviously, if the mobs are in the Firestorm, the pulls are going to go quicker. Things are going to die faster. You're going to do more damage, blah, 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 blah. One thing I noticed, especially in this Gambit key, is mobs run around a lot. There's a lot of ground effects you have to run out of. There's fish sticks you're either going to run away from or have to end up killing, which would require target swapping to disintegrate style of gameplay. Firestorm in this first area felt good at times, but at other times felt absolutely horrible. In this first pull, for example, I did a lot of damage. Like, I absolutely own this pull. For the most part, everything was stationary and was within the Firestorm, was within my Pyre bounce range, right? Small radiuses here. Consume Flame as well as a small radius. But then things start running away, and things start to get a little bit out of control. I can show you here, for example. There's like fish sticks spawning. There's mobs running everywhere. There's like ground effects. We just start running all over the place. And then like the value of, you know, even Rain of Fire type spells, anyone who has a ground effect AoE starts to suffer a bit. So I did notice that a bit in some of these keys. Now, again, that could just be the nature of ETR and tanks like not used to the damage, so they're kiting or not sure what mechanics are doing, you know, all that stuff too. So we'll have to see how it plays out when the season comes. But that was one thing I maybe thought to myself that could potentially be an annoyance. Obviously, you can still do very good damage without that, but definitely something to consider. Would have to look at how much you're actually losing in some of these dungeons and some of these pulls. But yeah, that was one last thing I wanted to comment on. I'll probably do a guide. I'll probably get back into YouTube content for Evoker. I'll do one of these videos for AoE Evoker after I get a chance to test it over the next day. I've just been on a very big break. Was pretty burnt out. But yeah, hope to be back into things and give you guys content this season for Evoker. So if you want to check that out, yeah, make sure you stick around. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.